Question to you, Alwan, which is about drawing on POW's experience and engagement with local actors. How do you define localization? And do you think that all local and national actors in Iraq share the same understanding, the same definition regarding localization?
Yeah,
The floor is yours.
thank you. Thank you so much, Iman. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for such a great event. And thanks for Dr. Ismail to present such an interesting presentation regarding the outcome of the research. Well, I'll start where Dr. Ismail stopped because I don't want to repeat myself regarding the Iraqi context. So I can say that despite a variety level of understanding for the localization, for the most of the local NGOs, localization is a way of sharing power, resources, leadership, and also participation in the decision-making process. And then it can be done through developing the capacity of the local organization and system strengthening, as well as promoting the local collaboration and community partnership with the different community groups and including the subnational level authority as well, and also promoting the equitable partnership with the international actors and the UN agencies, the donors. Lastly, an advanced policy and regulation for inclusive and effective partnership for the local organization. In general, I can say that the localization process is progressing, and we have over the past decades or years, I can say, to be honest, notable improvements for the role of local NGOs in the ongoing interventions. If in the past few years, the local NGOs was only playing the implementing role, as mentioned in the report. Now we can definitely say that there are some local NGOs who are taking part of decision-making process, and they're taking part of designing the programs, which is great. However, it cannot be generalized. I understand that the report has covered a wider area or wider space for the local civil society in Iraq. This is why I can definitely say that there are still many challenges in place, and I would like to mention some of them. First of all, the concept of localization in Iraq is new. We understand that during the past 10 years that Iraq was going through a emergency situation. So every organization, UN agencies and the international actors pushing a lot to just fulfill the needs of the pupils in need, millions of IDPs and refugees. This is why recently the localization process started to grow. This is therefore for the most of the local NGOs, the concept, they're not really familiar with the concept of localization, and they are not familiar on what effective localization should mean. And another challenge is relating to missing a substantial clear pathway moving forward on the localization. And I think for that, we still need the support from the international actors and also the regional actors as well. Not be so, just to be a little bit optimistic, I would like to also share some opportunities, especially when we have a good existing local collaboration in place for now, especially among the local NGOs, plus local NGOs with the local institutions, and then strong will from the donors, international actors, the regional actors to support the localization. And I find it as a very good opportunity to take it as a the entry point moving forwards, as long as there is a willingness to provide this support. And I think this is really important for us as a local NGOs to take it and collaborate with the. Thank you.
To you, Alwand, again, and I'd like to hear from you, from POW experience. And this is vast experience, considering one of the lead agency and local NGOs in Iraq. Do you think that assuming a greater leadership from local actors, do you think that local actors are ready? What are the opportunities, considering that you like to shed light on the bright side, not only to continue speaking about the challenges? I'd like to hear from you to what extent local NGOs in Iraq are prepared to assume greater leadership roles in the different coordination platform.
Yeah, thank you so much, Iman, for such a great and important question. To be honest, I support what colleague mentioned that in Iraq, the local NGOs are technically ready. We have accumulated experience in different sectors and we support the international actors, show them what exactly work, what doesn't work. I mean, technically, we have taken good steps. But unfortunately, this is not the whole story. I mean, for sustainability and for taking this greater role or leadership role, we need to ask ourselves the question, I mean, the most important question, how sustainable we are, how far we can go within our own local resources. And the answers this time, starting with some challenge and then go, I will also highlight some opportunities. To be honest, there are a lot of challenges for sustainability, for local NGO sustainability in Iraq. First of all is limited access to funds. I mean, we know that within the past few years that there was a lot of funds because Iraq was in the top priority on the list of the donors. Funds are coming, collaborating with the international NGOs. But now, as Dr. Ismail also mentioned, that we are moving from priority to non-priority countries. It means that we get less funds. So here is the question: how we can survive? How we can continue within the same functionality, within the same capacity? So access to fund is really great, important. By access to fund, I mean direct communication with donor and also having flexible funds to be used by the local NGOs. And also another challenge that also the local NGOs are faced is the donor requirements. Sometimes the smaller organizations are facing hardship to comply the donor requirements. This is why you always need to have an international NGO to take your back and support you to run some financial and reporting or whatever. So maybe this is also a question that we need to ask. So how we can find a way to apply some donor requirement and also reduce the challenges faced by the smaller organization. To be honest, sometimes even the big organization also facing the same challenge. And then lack of local sustainable fund, as mentioned in the research, it is another challenge. Is there any opportunity to find alternative funds? Is the government ready to take this responsibility? I mean, this is also something that we really need to think about as a part of localization as well. And then shrinking
Yeah.
civil society space is another challenge, to be honest. Now we see that local NGOs are faced by some like different pressure. So it's also another challenge, plus insufficient of the coordination mechanism. Quickly highlighting some good opportunities that I think we have ahead of us is supporting different donors, regional and international actors. Again, I really want to mention that this is really great and really appreciated. So this support should continue and will be, I mean, it is really useful to shift the local NGOs from a stage to a more advanced stage. And then thinking about developing some strategy for sustainable fund for example, involving the private sectors as a sustainable resource of funding or financial support. I think this opportunity is there. I encourage all the local NGOs to think about and find a way to make the private sector have a more active role in the funding process, and then improving the financial system in Iraq as a whole country. I think it is also another opportunity. I remember in the past few years we were really depending on cash. But
Yeah.
now there's a banking system is improving, there's a credit card, and I think it is also another good opportunity for the local organizations to think about individual donations, considering the accountability and transparency element as well, because it's
Yeah.
more safe and more transparent. And last thing I would also like to mention, sorry for taking long, it is about increased trust between the community and the local organization, and also trust between the civil society organization and the government at some level, which is also important. Like the government, the civil society is not a strange body for the most of the community's point of view. And I think it's important. It is now our work is more welcomed by the community and also by the stakeholders. Thank you so much.
Would you like to conclude with one final
Sure.
recommendation or sharing your reflection about this? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think NGO networking is a great opportunity for inclusive participation because it is always a platform that, regardless of where you're based, you can always have access and join. The second thing, I mean, the network can also offer is the capacity development. It is slightly different from capacity building. And to be honest, for this smaller organization, we cannot just rely on one single workshop or training. We need them involved in our activities, and we need to support them. So now, as POW, I can say sharing some good practices. We are supporting the local initiatives implemented by community-based organization or smaller organization through giving them a small grant, as well as supporting them work through coaching sessions so they can use the grant effectively. And it will be a creative experience for them to even guarantee some more funds outside the circle that we create.